I just bought this wrecked Ferrari 812 Superfast and we're about to try and attempt to rebuild it in 24 hours.
You spend 100,000 British pounds on a crashed Ferrari. You spend months rebuilding it and turn it into something nobody on Earth has ever built before. You're this close to firing it up, and Ferrari looks you dead in the eyes and says, no. This isn't Matt's first rodeo with a supercar brand shutting him down. Remember Bugatti? That was bad. What Ferrari just did. The community is saying it's even worse. Let's break down why. This story has more twists than the Fiorano test track. So who exactly is the YouTuber bold enough to buy a wrecked Ferrari that even Ferrari said couldn't be repaired and try to bring it back to life anyway? Who is Matt Armstrong? If you're new here, let's get you up to speed. Matt Armstrong is a British YouTuber with over 6.5 million subscribers and one very specific superpower. He buys crashed, written-off supercars that everyone else has given up on, and he brings them back from the dead. We're talking a totaled Porsche GT3 RS, a Lamborghini Aventador SVJ that had been destroyed, an Aston Martin DBX that had been completely submerged underwater, a Ferrari 812 Superfast that he rebuilt from nothing and then gifted to his dad. He even took on a damaged Lamborghini Revuelto, one of the most electronically complex hypercars ever made, and pulled it off. The man doesn't do easy. He does impossible. And every single time, the car community shows up in millions to watch. So when Matt announced he'd bought a wrecked Ferrari 296 GTB, a car so badly damaged that even Ferrari themselves said it couldn't be fixed, people already knew this was going to be one of the most insane projects he'd ever attempted. What nobody expected was that this time, the biggest obstacle wouldn't be the crash damage. It would be Ferrari's own policies. But when Matt finally got his hands on that wrecked Ferrari 296, just how bad was the damage that even Ferrari themselves said it couldn't be fixed? The car, the crash, the challenge. So let's talk about this car. The Ferrari 296 GTB is not just any Ferrari. This is one of Maranello's most technologically advanced machines, a 3.0-liter twin-turbo V6 paired with an electric motor, producing a combined 830 horsepower, hitting 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in under 3 seconds. It starts at around 270,000 British pounds, brand new. It's packed with electronic systems, ECUs, safety protocols, and a hybrid battery system that makes it more like a rolling computer than a traditional sports car. This is a car that Ferrari's own engineers spent years developing. It is not supposed to end up in a YouTube rebuild series. But here's the thing about supercars and money. When someone writes one off, someone else sees an opportunity. The specific car Matt bought had been shipped to Cyprus. The owner, feeling confident, maybe a little too confident, decided to switch off the driver aids on an open road. At 830 horsepower, that's not a decision that forgives mistakes. The result was catastrophic. We're talking ripped suspension, a punctured floor, destroyed wiring harnesses, airbags deployed, the whole car shredded from the inside out. The kind of damage that makes even experienced mechanics go quiet when they walk around it. The car was taken to the Ferrari dealership in Cyprus. Their verdict? The repair estimate was astronomical. And then came the line that sealed the car's fate in the official network. A 296 this badly damaged has never been repaired by Ferrari before. In other words, this car was written off. Done. Finished. The dealership had seen enough. Matt heard that and thought, challenge accepted. He bought the wreck, flew to Cyprus with roughly 9,000 British pounds worth of original Ferrari parts already in hand, and got to work. And here's where it gets interesting. Ferrari actually agreed to let him work in their dealership yard, using their tools, surrounded by brand new Ferraris. It's surreal to even picture it. Matt and his team crouched over this mangled 296, replacing suspension components and ball joints, while pristine showroom Ferraris sat just meters away. The dealership staff watching, probably not quite believing what they were seeing. Once the car was back on four wheels, the plan was simple. Get it started, load it up, ship it to the UK. That's when the nightmare began. So once Matt finally got the car back on its wheels and tried to bring it back to life, what exactly happened when he turned the key? The hybrid system lockout. Matt reconnected the 12-volt battery, turned the ignition key, and the dashboard lit up with a message that would haunt this entire project. Hybrid system failure. Go to dealer. The V6 engine wouldn't fire. The electronics wouldn't communicate. When a Ferrari technician plugged in the official diagnostic tool, they couldn't even read fault codes, as if the car had simply refused to wake up. No error history, no handshake, just silence from a machine that should be screaming with 830 horsepower of potential. Here's what was happening under the hood. After a serious crash, the 296's pyrotechnic fuse, a safety device designed to cut off high-voltage power after an impact, had been triggered. Think of it like a circuit breaker, except instead of just flipping back, it physically destroys itself to guarantee the power is cut. It's a one-way door. Once it blows, it's blown. And resetting the system that sits behind it isn't something you can do with a generic scanner you ordered off Amazon. On a normal combustion-powered car, you can work around faults, coax the engine into starting, bypass a stubborn sensor. Mechanics have been doing it for decades, but the Ferrari 296 is a hybrid. The battery management module, the BMS, the brain that decides whether high voltage can flow through the rest of the car, had essentially put the vehicle into a permanent lockout state. And in that state, the V6 won't even attempt to fire. The hybrid system and the combustion engine are so deeply integrated that one cannot operate without the other giving the green light. And here's the brutal reality of modern hybrid supercars. Once that module decides it won't cooperate, nobody outside of Ferrari's official network can make it change its mind. No independent mechanic, no OBD scanner, no YouTube tutorial, no forum thread. You need the manufacturer, and only the manufacturer. It's a level of digital gatekeeping that simply didn't exist in the era of carburetors and distributor caps. Ferrari's condition for helping? Simple on paper, almost impossible in practice. They would only properly diagnose the car once everything was present and connected. All airbags, sensors, lights, radiators, hybrid modules. In other words, they needed Matt to rebuild the entire car before they'd even tell him what was wrong with it. A true catch-22. Most people would have stopped here. Matt Armstrong is not most people. So if Ferrari wouldn't even diagnose the problem until the entire car was rebuilt, how do you finish a car that literally refuses to start? The insane pivot, building a race car. If Ferrari needed the car to be complete before they'd help, Matt was going to make it more than complete. He was going to make it the most extraordinary version of a Ferrari 296 the world had ever seen. Here's the pivot. Matt managed to get his hands on an official Ferrari 296 Challenge body kit, the same ultralight components used on the track-only race version of the car. We're talking specific front and rear bumpers, an aggressive diffuser, lightweight panels, and a massive rear spoiler that looks like it belongs on a Le Mans prototype, not a road car. The goal crystallized: build a road-going Ferrari 296, dressed like a full race car. Something that had never existed before. A one-off. A 296 Challenge Stradale, but built in a workshop in the UK, not in a factory in Maranello. And it wasn't just cosmetic. Matt adapted the cooling system, installing a central radiator like the Challenge version uses, modifying brackets, rethinking the duct routing. Real engineering, real fabrication, real problem-solving. The transformation was genuinely impressive. The car that sat in his workshop looked exactly like the race version. Visually indistinguishable from the official Challenge car competing in Ferrari's own motorsport championships. Then he went to order the final critical parts. Some came through fine. And then, silence. But just when the project started looking like one of Matt's greatest builds yet, why did Ferrari suddenly slam the brakes on the entire thing? Ferrari drops the hammer. When Matt called to follow up on outstanding parts orders, specific fenders, radiators, critical components for the Challenge kit, he was told something that stopped the project dead. Certain parts were restricted. They required authorization, tied directly to the VIN, the vehicle identification. Number of the car placing the order. Ferrari's system was checking whether the vehicle was an approved official 296 Challenge race car. A crashed road GTB being converted in a British workshop? That did not qualify. By this point, Matt had already committed fully to the build. Some parts had come through. Earlier, Ferrari had partially supplied the kit before the system flagged the remaining components. So the car was already in a hybrid state, partially converted, visually transformed, but mechanically and electronically stranded. In other words, the project was trapped in the worst possible middle ground. It wasn't a standard road car anymore, but it also couldn't become the full Challenge spec machine Matt had envisioned. When Matt's team contacted Ferrari for help starting the car, the response came with a condition. The 296 would first need to be inspected at a certified Ferrari body shop. But here's the problem. The car had already been rebuilt outside of official repair procedures, and Ferrari's repair documentation wasn't even available to independent builders. Now it was wearing a full race kit never intended for road registration, making inspection a near impossible hurdle. "The car isn't going to pass the inspection," Matt said. "We've fitted it with a race kit. We haven't used Ferrari's correct repair procedures because they aren't available to us. So it's looking unlikely Ferrari would even touch this car." His last move? An email, sent directly to Ferrari, asking them to reconsider, asking for a pathway forward. As of late February 2026, he's still waiting for a reply. In the meantime, that extraordinary Ferrari 296, the only road-going Challenge spec 296 in the world, sits in Matt's workshop, looking incredible, going absolutely nowhere. And when the car community heard what Ferrari had just done, why did so many people immediately say this situation was even worse than the Bugatti drama? Why this is worse than Bugattis? Now let's talk about the comparison everyone in the car community is making, because the Bugatti parallel is impossible to ignore. And if you watch the Chiron rebuild series, this is going to hit different. You might remember that Matt Armstrong previously rebuilt a Bugatti Chiron, another project that made headlines when Bugatti pushed back, with CEO Mate Rimac publicly challenging some of Matt's claims about sourcing parts. Rimac took to social media, called out specific details, and turned the whole thing into a very public back and forth. It was messy, it was dramatic, and it sparked an enormous debate about right to repair in the supercar world. Thousands of comments, millions of views, people genuinely divided. But that situation, as heated as it got, had a certain clarity to it. Bugatti said no. Matt pushed forward anyway. The lines were drawn early. What Ferrari has done is a different animal entirely. And here's why people are saying Ferrari's response is actually worse. 1. The partial delivery. Bugatti declined involvement from the start. Ferrari initially supplied parts, let the project move forward, and then blocked the critical final components mid-build. That's not just a refusal, that's a trap. Matt is now stuck with a car that's halfway transformed and can't be completed either officially or independently. Bugatti never let him get that far in the first place. 2. The selective timing. Ferrari's block came after significant investment, after months of work, after the project was already public, and the community was invested. The financial and reputational stakes were already enormous. Walking away at that point isn't just disappointing, it's potentially devastating. 3. The hybrid software lockout. With Bugatti, the battle was largely about physical parts. Can you source them or not? With Ferrari, there's an entirely additional layer, the hybrid battery management system that only Ferrari can reset. It doesn't matter if you source every single physical component. It doesn't matter how skilled your mechanic is. Without Ferrari's software intervention, the car will never start. That gives Ferrari a level of control over their vehicles post-sale that goes far beyond any traditional manufacturer-owner relationship. You can own the car, you can have the title, and Ferrari can still make sure it never moves again. This is the core of the right to repair debate as it applies to the new generation of hybrid and electric supercars. The question isn't just, can independent builders source parts? It's, do manufacturers have the right to permanently disable a car you legally own? And that's a question the car community, and potentially regulators, are going to be asking with increasing urgency, because if Ferrari can do it, every other manufacturer is watching. But before we completely blame Ferrari here, is there actually a legitimate reason the company might be blocking this build? Look, and I think this is important, not everyone is on Matt's side here. And some of the arguments in Ferrari's defense are genuinely worth hearing. Ferrari is not blocking a standard 296 GTB repair. What they're blocking is a non-standard conversion of a road car into a race specification that was never intended for street use. The 296 Challenge is a track-only vehicle. Its parts are allocated, tracked, and restricted precisely because Ferrari manages a controlled motorsport program. When someone starts ordering challenge components through unofficial channels, that creates real compliance and liability issues for the brand. From Ferrari's perspective, these race components are tied to official teams and drivers competing in championships. Each part is logged, tracked, and supplied through a tightly controlled system. Allowing unrestricted sales could disrupt that structure, create gray market race cars, or even risk the car being used in unsafe ways. There's also the matter of liability. The 296's hybrid system carries high-voltage components that can be extremely dangerous if handled incorrectly. Ferrari isn't just protecting the car, they're protecting themselves. And anyone who might attempt to drive a track-spec hybrid without proper certification. Even the tiniest mistake with these systems could result in serious injury or fire. From a corporate point of view, insisting on certified repair procedures isn't gatekeeping. It's risk management and engineering responsibility. And while frustrating for Matt, it's at least logically coherent. Matt himself has acknowledged that Ferrari aren't the villains here. What frustrates the community isn't Ferrari's caution, it's the partial cooperation. The company supplied some parts, allowed access to tools, but then left him stranded mid-build, with no clear pathway forward for a car outside the official system, through no fault of his own. No fault. And just when this whole situation couldn't get any stranger, what Ferrari was spotted testing near Maranello made the entire story even more unbelievable. The wildest twist yet. Here's where this story takes a turn that nobody saw coming. And honestly, if you wrote this as a movie script, people would say it was too on the nose. While Matt Armstrong has been trying for months to build a road-going version of the Ferrari 296 Challenge, while Ferrari has been refusing to help him get it started, spy photographers near Maranello caught Ferrari testing a heavily camouflaged prototype out on public roads. A prototype that, according to every analyst and journalist who's seen the images, looks exactly like a road-going version of the Ferrari 296 Challenge. Ferrari is secretly developing the very car that Matt Armstrong built in his garage, right now, as we speak. The car community is calling it the 296 Challenge Stradale, and if confirmed, it would be one of the most extreme road-legal Ferraris ever made, following the legendary tradition of the 360 Challenge Stradale, the 430 Scuderia, and the 458 Speciale. Cars that are now worth a fortune precisely because of how special and limited they were. And here's what makes this even more mind-bending. Ferrari is a company that guards its future products like state secrets. Spy shots near Maranello are rare. When they appear, it means the car is close, which means Ferrari has almost certainly been developing this thing the entire time Matt has been trying to build his version. They knew this car was coming, and they still blocked him. Think about that for a second. Matt Armstrong, a YouTuber from the UK, built Ferrari's next car before Ferrari announced it. He did it from a wrecked shell in a workshop, with parts Ferrari tried to stop him getting. And Ferrari responded by blocking his parts order and leaving his car stranded. The irony is almost too perfect. So now, the real question is, will Ferrari ever help Matt Armstrong start the car he built? Or will this one-of-a-kind Ferrari remain the most incredible project that never actually runs? So where does this leave Matt Armstrong? With a car that looks like nothing else on Earth, a hybrid brain that refuses to cooperate, an inbox waiting for Ferrari's reply, and a community of millions watching to see what happens next. The Ferrari 296 project isn't over, and knowing Matt Armstrong, it won't be until that engine fires up. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is Ferrari in the wrong here? Or is this on Matt for pushing into territory they were never going to support? And if you want to see more breakdowns like this, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.